Welcome back for another video blog. It's Victor and Matt from the 110 Sports Podcast talking about college football and more specifically the Pac-12 conference. We've added some teams to this conference, but as things change, Victor, it looks more kind of like it used to be. Are Oregon and Stanford still kind of the class, the conference?
Yeah, I think they're the leaders in the clubhouse in a sense. They just seem to have the most complete team offensively and defensively. Oregon has that high-powered offense where they can score points in a hurry. And not only did Stanford return Andrew Luck, they return a lot of guys that, let's be honest, are eventually going to play in the NFL.
And USC is a team that used to dominate this conference, but has not looked so great over the last couple of years. And really, more specifically, at the start of this season, really offensively weren't kind of gelling. But this past weekend against Syracuse, yeah, they're not a great team. They did look like they're starting to come together at a good time once you enter that full slate of conference games. So USC is a team that's probably on the rise for the rest of the season.
And a team that is in a must-win situation, even though it's only their third game of the season, has to be Oregon State and Mike Riley. They lost their opening game to Sacramento State, a real shock in a sense, and then they got blown out at Wisconsin. They host UCLA this week after that week off. Mike Riley needs to regroup his troops, and they need to come out strong and get a win. If not, they play UCLA, then they're at ASU, they play Arizona. Those teams are all in need of wins and stuff like that, so this is a must-win for Oregon State.
Now, it's a must-win for Oregon State, not from a standpoint of Mike Riley keeping his job. They just need to try to get back on a successful campaign for the season. But UCLA and Rick Neuheisel, that is a guy that he's on the hot seat. You also got Dennis Erickson and Mike Stoops from Arizona State and Arizona that entered the season kind of on the hot seat. Which seat, though, Victor, of those three guys is getting the hottest right now?
I think the hottest right now has to be Rick Neuheisel. Yeah. I just think that he had such high expectations, made that big deal about how they were going to take over the LA area and be better than UCLA. Even with all the infractions that are going on with USC, Lane Kiffin, they've risen above it, and they're playing better. Losing season, I think this is do or die for Neuheisel.
And Dennis Erickson at ASU looks to be a team that's probably going to, at worst, make a bowl game, which should be enough for Erickson to keep his job. Then you look at Mike Stoops at Arizona. People are a little down on him. They've gotten blown out pretty much by two teams, Oklahoma State and Stanford. But the schedule is going to get easier here in a couple of weeks. Do you think? I think personally Stoops has done enough. He's made 3 straight bowl games. If they can somehow kind of rally the second half of the season and figure a way to get to 500, sneak into a bowl game, that should be more than enough for Stoops to keep his job for another year.
And I agree. And I think the important thing that people have to realize is don't judge Stoops necessarily on the games that he probably shouldn't win. He should have lost to Oklahoma State. They're a better team. Stanford and Oregon are two teams that, they lost to Stanford. Oregon's a high-powered offense. They may lose to them
this weekend.
This weekend. Then they're at USC, which is probably one of those games that they probably should lose. But after that, Arizona has a really good chance where the schedule gets easier, and all the rest of those games are winnable games. So judge Stoops on what he does in those games. If he can get 5 and 7, maybe possibly sneak into a bowl game, I think he stays another year. But don't judge him based on what he does against Stanford, Oklahoma State, Oregon. It's a lose-lose situation for him.
And with all those injuries also, you're top on all that as well. It's a tough road ahead, but we'll see how they do. We appreciate you watching our video blog.